Hi, friends. How's everything with everybody? This one I've touched on quite a few times in different, uploads I've made. If you've been following my content, you might have heard me talk about this some here and there. But I want to make a whole video dedicated to this subject because I think it's important that everybody understands the impact of certain things and the power that certain things can have on us. So today I want to talk about the power of silence. How transformative it can be, how much clarity you can gain from practicing silence and going into the void yourselves. Meditation. And here's the thing, meditation is one of those things that a lot of people talk about it, but everybody works a different way, right? I've talked about this as well before, is that we certain things may not have the same effect on some of us that it does on others, and vice versa. So I've always been a big proponent of the fact that, find out what works for you. But keep in mind that silence is very powerful. And if you have a hard time meditating, doing meditation, practicing meditation, and it's not something you have to do it every day, okay, yeah, it's great to do it every day. I'm not going to tell you how to use your own time. I've spoken about the importance of time before and how it's one of those things that we don't really value in our lives. And we spend so much time of our lives wasting our time on useless things that don't bring any value to our own lives, any type of internal growth whatsoever. There are so many of us out there today that are just like scrolling and feeding ourselves with useless things that not only are useless, but most of the time harmful to our state of being, to our minds, to being connected to our hearts. And the void is a powerful thing. And I know the mind can be our number one enemy sometimes. Trust me, I'm a Gemini. I know exactly how that works. And it took me a lot of discipline and time going inwards to be able to feel the void, quiet the mind, and stay silent on my own stillness. And an easy way to do that is when the thoughts come, let them come and then let them go. Don't focus on the thoughts. Think of it as when you're driving your vehicle, right? You do it you do it instinctively, automatically. The vehicle is in motion and you're seeing so many things going by, but you're not focusing on those things, right? Because if you did, you would crash your car. So this is how it works when you're you start to practice meditation, stillness, silence, going within. This is how you should look at as your thoughts. when they come. Picture that scenario that I just talked about. Like when you're in your car and you're driving and everything is moving, right? Because the vehicle is in motion and you're seeing thousands of different things as you're going through the road, wherever you're going, but you're not putting your attention and your focus on those things at that moment because you understand that at that moment you have to put the focus on the wheel and on the road. So this is how it works when you start to practice meditation. That's one easy way to be able to embrace the stillness and the void. There are certain things a person can do. You could do this. This is just an easy analogy, easy way of explaining to people. The other thing is don't start by trying to sit there for like half an hour if you've never done that, because you're going to fail miserably. So what you have to do is you have to start small amounts of time, and then you incrementally increase them every day. Start with like 5 minutes for a whole week perhaps. Then the next week you do 10. Then the week after that you do 15, until you get to whatever amount of time you like to spend doing stuff like that. I like to do like a half an hour every day. And then the other thing you can do is you can focus on your physical body. You feel your own heartbeat. That's a very powerful thing. Because when you do that, that's the only thing you're feeling. You're actually not only feeling, but you're listening to it. And that will keep your mind quiet and clear so you can experience the stillness and the void. And this is when clarity will come. This is when you may be getting answers to a lot of the questions that you have. And don't discourage yourself. Keep practicing, keep trying. Silence is important, guys. It's a powerful thing. It's very, very powerful once you learn how to connect with it. That's my personal experience anyway. It's amazing when you do these things because eventually you're gonna realize it feels funny because I don't know if funny is the right way to put it, but it's how it felt to me anyway. First originally, because what happens is you will sit there for like a half an hour, and it's weird because it feels like time slows down when you do things like this. We all have this false sense most of the time, especially if we're like in survival mode. If you're in survival mode, you're gonna relate to this, okay? If you're in survival mode, it feels like time goes by so fast. You go like, wow, where did today go? Right? It's like time flies by. And yeah, I said this before, when once you have kids, then you see how fast time really goes by. But outside of things like that, we always get this feeling that time has sped up so much, especially for the past, decade or so. But then there are weird things happening right now because of all these cosmic energies, alignments, We have that solar eclipse coming up this weekend now on Sunday, and I'll make a video for that one, um, talking about that specifically. And these things, they're all happening because we need these energies and we need all of these things happening now. If you're a person who is like working on yourself spiritually, but then when you start practicing meditation, that's my personal experience though. I don't know how it is for others. If you have your own experience, feel free to chime in the comments and talk about it. And like I said before, if this content helps you in any way, you know, click that like button, subscribe, share. Yeah, it's strange how when you start doing these things, it's like it slows time down. That's the feeling that I get. And I remember, being in survival mode not that long ago. It was always like time going by so fast. It always felt like there wasn't enough time in the day to do the things you wanted to do. You're always rushing, trying to get things done, and it feels like you don't accomplish anything at the end of the day, right? But it's because everything is energetic, and when we're like living in a low frequency state, that's what it feels like. But once you start like leveling up frequency wise and you elevate your frequency, it changes everything. It's crazy how weird that is. In a good way, though. So, yeah, silence is a powerful tool. Use it wisely. Embrace the silence, embrace the void. You will be glad you did. It's very, very good to allow us to reconnect with our true selves, our soul, source, creation itself, and to keep this presence state, this self-awareness going at all times. Is very important. Do not underestimate the power of silence, my friends, because it is powerful indeed. And I think this is all I wanted to talk about when it comes down to this. Okay? Um, yeah. I love you all. Never stop loving yourself. And I will catch you all on the next one. Take care, my friends.